I'm executive chef and director of dining here at King's Grant, and my name is Janet Ashby. I'm originally from the UK, coming to America and living in New Jersey for several years before moving down to Martinsville, Virginia. I've worked for King's Grant now for 2.5 years, and I started just as a regular cook, and as I said, I'm now executive chef. Started in about 1860, I believe, when the 7th Duchess of Bedford was visiting friends in Nottinghamshire. They were the Duke and Duchess of Rutland, and she was quite peckish one afternoon in between lunch and dinner. So they had the kitchen make her up some sweet treats. They didn't have sandwiches as we know them today, but it was mainly cakes and little bits like that, and that tided her over till dinner time. And she enjoyed this so much that when she went back to her own household, she continued the tradition. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, she would invite her friends over, and it became quite popular after that. The sandwich actually comes from Lord Sandwich, which was a little bit before Anna of Bedford. He was quite an avid gambler, and the story goes that one evening he was gambling, he had a good hand, but was quite peckish and didn't want to leave the table. So he had his manservant run down to the kitchen to grab something for him to nibble at the table. The only thing the manservant could come up with was some dry bread and some meats. So he put the meat in between the 2 bits of bread, and voila, we now have the humble sandwich. Let's talk about tea. There's several definitions of tea. There's tea, afternoon tea, high tea, and royalty. And the first tea is a cup of tea. The second tea is a blue-collar meal, and it's when the kids come home from school or the husband comes home from work. It will be a very simple, very small meal. Sometimes it would just be a sandwich and a piece of cake and a cup of tea, and that's that. High tea is very similar. High tea is more of a meal with a cup of tea, and afternoon tea is what we have here: scones, cakes, sandwiches, and basically a cup of tea. Then there is royalty. A royalty is very much similar to this, but you usually have much more high-end, maybe a glass of champagne with it, caviar, smoked salmon, and things like that. I have never in my life been to somebody's house and had a royalty. When you go to somebody, usually in England, and have afternoon tea, this is it. And also, although I haven't lived in England for several years, when I did live there, when you were driving around the countryside, you could go to a farm, and if they have a sign outside that says afternoon tea, you would just drive up to the front door of this farmhouse, any farmhouse that had afternoon tea plaque outside, knock on the door, tell the lady of the house that you would like afternoon tea, You'd sit in their garden, she'd make you scones, make you sandwiches, make you a cup of tea, and she'd bring it out to you in the garden. Obviously, there would be a small charge for this, and that's how the farmers' wives made a few extra pounds here and there to help them out. We have here with this tea your usual cucumber sandwiches, and we have chicken salad sandwiches, cookies, fruit, a couple of muffins, and then we have the scones. English scones are generally round, unlike American scones, which are more square or triangle shape, and they're a little fluffier than an American scone. Tea has been around for hundreds of years. It is said that there was an emperor, Chinese emperor, contemplating the day on the side of a mountain when he felt a bit thirsty and weary, and there was a plant growing next to him. So just like anybody that's on the side of a mountain, you think, aha, I will pick the leaves of this plant and boil it. And which is what he did, and therefore tea was a part of our communities ever since. You probably have a variety of tea growing in your garden that comes from the same family as the camellia plant that grows. However, I would not suggest you run out and pick your leaves and start brewing tea. I don't know how toxic those leaves are. It's very much like a buttery consistency rather than the cream that you pour out of a pitcher. And many years ago, before refrigeration, to extend the life of milk, it will be boiled, and clotted is comes from the word clouted. To clout means to boil, and over the years it changed from clouted to clotted. And the best clotted cream comes from Devon, because of their fabulous cows that they have there. They have really rich, full fat milk, and it makes an excellent clotted cream. There's two different ways of buying tea. There's loose leaf. This is a black tea, and then there's tea bags, which is what most people use is a tea bag. The tea that is in the tea bag is ground much finer because it has to instantly brew. Twinings has the oldest tea shop in London, and it has been on the same in the same shop for several hundred years. Was created actually by chance. A tea merchant was sending out samples of tea to clients, and he would put them in little silk bags, and he thought it was a great way to contain the tea leaves, and would give the customer a variation of different samples. Little did he know that they were actually using that bag and just putting it in hot water instead of opening the bag and making it as loose leaf. And when they got back to him and said, yes, we need some more of your tea bags, he realized he was onto the winner. Have a tea cozy, which is what this is. This will keep your tea warm, but what you will need is a teapot, tea, whether it's loose leaf or a tea bag, and boiling water. Please do not put water in the microwave. It makes it much too hot. Tea generally brews at between 180 to 200 degrees, depending on which type of tea you are using. Nobody ever drinks tea like that. Nobody. Ever known anybody to put cream in tea. Sister and I differ on this. I prefer to put my milk in first. My sister, however, likes to pour her tea in first, so she knows how much milk to put in afterwards. And then you pour out your tea. Give you your cup of tea.
Thanks so much. I do appreciate it. I'm so excited. It's lovely to have someone that knows what they're doing.